So somebody will call my Ghana this week. Your speech said, Diana, see on my Ghana. So who on my Ghana Mudian himself? 2022. It hasn't been started on a good note. Yes, sir. I feel see who said a dear at all. Nine in some penny for 2 a dear, yes, it's your mom. I do draw more. I mean, your mukru and you. There's nothing more. Yeah, cause sorry, this week pie. Yes, a dynamo, obviously say dynamite. It just says here, and tokwa. Se country abem and a true swakasa. This week, a new man a call for my Ghana monona and the ain't. So if you just tune in, make sure say mobile down, make sure say open free with me. Like I said, I'm not him and I'm a major and Naviga for a bit your monka, some yama the cooling down heart and never funny. Aya Obaya Obabro ni Obako Mr. Party was the only electricity for or money chaka. And ya no kwa see about so a year the boss broken this bonus so a studio highest in electricity. Obano or rock studio had I say gone. And Obaya so afanaja. And come and say a year me number one accountant. Someone himself of course sabbatical leave. Wakika Kasikani now boom no Akika numbers and also abortion. A year Mr. Emmanuel Ashley and Wabana. The thing is obviously he's been born again. And it's also who the new Mr. Emmanuel Ashley make a show survey competitions on Facebook or on our YouTube page or call WhatsApp TV. He is a new man and no veteran. I'm not too sure whether he came with a new voice, but just look out for him.
Where is he coming from?
It's your one, you know, over your one cat.
4 weeks of the middle of the year.
Now you're quiet and now you're at the end of Esther. So when you say, this year, a year studio or a human community. So human community, so I'm not to say a man who near my 8 It's also said Dr. Emmanuel Amwa or say no Ghanaian woman should die from cervical cancer. Yes, for a while we will go to or say a PhD explosion is a case of pure negligence. MPP women and a mocha say na Obi said that is very questionable. MPP for some who question that negligence or who is meant to make sure say things were put in place. I know you're questionable. Yes, for what someone say Chadia to Parliament and Nasisia Parliament, but Tomasi also new beginning for Ghana Parliament and a DNA because this year no Chadiano ye movie a graduated from Chadiano to blows ara. And I say ye want kutuku. Yes, for her also school calendar a year kindergarten to JHS revert to trimester system. Someone names and Chay be this week here. We say Ghana and Kalano school or moon corner term 1, term 2, and 3rd term view. Is the exam Baba corner semester basis. Now, was this semester basis in the Krampo, and yet not swap out of the psychological effect of semester system on students. A teachers would be unbearable. Nami for one, Nami Ankasama, Tua Abatua Krum, Ayakasi, Ewokumasi, as Antimantem, was the explosion of Kasi as fuel tanker goes up in flames. Nami for one, you bet to SC a year, a yes, a mamma named a piety road destroyed by explosion, CCR no sa explosion, yes, yes, show. Now, when a year you went for a peace ambassador was there, bringing Ghana failed to educate the people on explosion. When they send the brain the work so and let you didn't ever brought to make sure say oh you didn't come be a member bigger for at church monache said the commando ya dia shisha swanisa It's ready. Without much I do, with the funny brofo, you bet straight to Obaya or Nayama Obaya Achia. Oba, good evening.
Good evening.
Now, how's your week been?
Week. Yeah. So far so good. I think the last week, the whole week went very fast. Weekend obviously has gone very fast. I don't know even when it started and it ended. So yes, it's been all right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's been the highlights? When you say after she no copy and paste. You bisa Okasa has been all right. Has been a highlight for this week.
Interesting.
For you.
What has it been mine?
You don't have a highlight.
No, I don't.
You don't have a highlight.
Thank you very much.
My uncle, Sammy, good evening.
Hello, madam.
Hello, madam. I know it before because in front of madam, I say years back, I say a couple 20 years back. Every madam, no, very madam, I'm trying there.
Combination.
If you're not trying to copy your buyer, now, let's say, studio had there, so we all, yeah, I want to be on with the TV pan. I'm moving to your Kuma. Now, how's been your highlight for this weekend?
I think everything is a little
when dear,
you say low light there, it's me.
Oh, that be low light.
That's what I'm thinking about when you're talking.
Yeah, in February. When the mommy zoom me, because I was saying zoom in, the almighty Mr. Emmanuel Rush, my number one accountant, me who not share, as if was a woman of prayer to say, now I am a from. And you have a question, Ima.
Nana,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to Nana Hima.
Not
And to our listeners as well.
You who watch it. Now, who was saying?
Kumbolo.
Some person they in cry every room. You can say Kubolo is a Kubofo. There's been more Kusa.
Ever say you who watch it, but I know if you say be what you can't cry about you.
Nana, I bridge it. Actually, I bridge it better.
I said they still have to be away. So you know, full play no go baby. It's so far with you. So once on England,
Yes, yeah, the Ghana, but we shall go Ghana. Yes. That's after the new year. It's been a bit busy here and there. As usual, as you know, I'm saying the first general rules here. The entire I can't tell much crap. That's the factor. Men can't say be unclear about. Let me say, this no, not a few schedules are not. I said, not me comma. Maybe I'm a comma lectures near the crap on tax no be. Into not Sundays usually. Into and a crash shake a crap into say a tea from function.
This is all lectures or accounting now.
Yeah, lecture as in semi course lecture. But to deliver sort of seminars near there to attend and just educate people on a few issues on their taxes and stuff like that. Maybe a sorry be a share, now could be a share, not come out friend, not the a bit.
And as I said, I program, yeah, last 2 weeks, my mouth are happy. That means Obaya can even follow that up. Obaya is the amount of topic and how to look at your taxes. And as I said, first program 2022, Mr. Emmanuel actually. As your guest.
That's the April.
That's the April, yes.
Here the best our time.
Yo, it's here for and if you just tune in, just remind you this was a radio number one radio station in London. I hear our energy with you. So now was good. We see and some coach corporate my didn't bro. This week and your ma so Ghana pa. So without much I do, some woman said station dear at or him chrome. And see a best see every something which is very particular and peculiar regarding women. Also, Dr. Emanuela Amwako say no Ghanaian woman should die from cervical cancer. Know your risk. Now, mommy, also historically, cervical cancer plagued women for a long time. A breakthrough came in the mid 20th centuries when screening measures started being implemented. The healthcare industry was hopeful that screening would drastically reduce cervical cancer incidence globally. Unfortunately, the disease is so prevalent worldwide, with sub-Saharan African bearing the burden of the disease, and it carries on and on and on. Now, the outcome is say, this year, the Abuchia Bagana as a starting program, say if you will Krobimu, if you buy a little bit of insights, if you are in a place like UK, they have measures in place. As to Ghana, now, if you go on it, this cervical cancer, they can easily be contracted through extremely common, through virus transmission, through sexual contact. In Sisebi, or Babina or do some age beer. Not sexually active, but it's very easy. So from the age of 26, they start doing screening, and WHO and the say every 5 years we are also be tested or be a corner and take a screening. But the who said Ghana, that is something that it's not something we're paying attention to. Crab. Nasisiano, and there's measures your baby center and be Ghana. So screening test on our people. Mommy bra obaya so oba why dear. This is radio. The Benku Abo Banchabo Mumana and say cervical cancer from your experience in the UK, how has it been for you, and why is it that important? Say Ghana, especially Ghana, for a bit and serious.
It's obviously being the only, well, two of us, I should be the only women on this panel. It is very important. I think has said they have measures of how I'm to find it out in 10 minutes. I think you test every 5 years. You have to go.
Why is 3 years?
3 years or 3 years?
Yeah.
I don't think it's 5.
No. But WHO expect 5 years.
5 years, okay. It 3 years. But normally the reason why I can't even remember is like normally you get a letter in the post. So when that indicates, that tells me the time as when you get a letter saying that one time as to go and do it. I think it's this testing, and as you're going for this cervical cancer, testing, is very, very important. I probably I shouldn't probably bring my experience in it, but there was some years back, and I didn't even take it seriously. That's the thing. I didn't even take it seriously. I went and did my test anyway, and they found abnormality. But that time, I didn't even think of it. Say it can kill you. I didn't think say something that is really say a bad. And I said, "Wow, I'm sure man yama. Wow, and I said, "Ma, it can kill you." After that time in that Jane, if anyone remember the girl from Big Brother, Jane, wherever she died, and that's when the whole issue became really like I started thinking, so, oh my God, I didn't even think say this can kill you, but it normally starts from abnormality when they do you go in and obviously they do something called smear test, whereby they take some sample, a tissue sample from
your
and they test it, and mine came abnormal. And for me, I just thought, so they will fix it. My head is nothing, so they'll fix it. But it could have been very, very bad news. So from that time, what they do, they said, it's so good. The system is so good. So like I have to test every 5 months, or within a year, I have to test twice, continuously for them to know, say, it's sort of like cleared. So it is so important, say, like you do this thing, and when you say people abuse you or whatever it is, it's important. Say, and I've done a show on this thing on my program, Wellbeing with Anita, which I had a very educated doctor from Ghana, which happens to be Samiame's sister-in-law. Is it no? Is sister-in-law? Yeah, and she's told me, so like there's so many incidents in Ghana because people don't even, they just sort of think, oh, what you do. They don't take it seriously. But we all know that, like, in this country, it kills a lot of people in this country. Let alone, if you look at the statistics, from what they've sent through now, out of that 2,797, 1,699, which is very, very high for me. I just think that, like, we need to take it very seriously. So you test every minimum how the government will initiate this thing anyway, but I think every woman should test every 5 years. At least 5 years is better than nothing. To test every 5 years to see that if there's some abnormality, and anything bad, it could be that something hasn't. I don't know whether. And at times it's nothing. I think at times the body can't sort of flush out any sort of your system properly or wherever they find, they can treat it. So instead of betraying, I didn't done it into cancer. Then when that happens now, that obviously it's more likely that you're not going to survive. And I think that it's very, very important to me that people take it seriously because, as I said, I've gone through that before, whereby it's good to sort of know where you stand and get the treatment as soon as possible before it becomes something that you don't want it to be. It is preventable, it is curable. So moving in terms that they can actually make sure so that they can give you whatever they need to treat it and go for more regular treatment just to flush the system or just to check so it's cleared now. It's better.
Yeah, Obaya, yeah, better was part initiative for things that I know said this show there is usually political show now. Yeah, can't, but it's because this cervical cancer is kind of being overlooked in Ghana, especially in the Black community, and because especially if you live in the West, it's kind of programmed for you. Actually, you don't even have to think about it. But Ghana, is something that. And you have to pay for it, but it's free in the UK. I don't know about the United States and other Western countries. And see, Ghana, Rana, Ebi Abba Ghana, or say, Yamichi Botech, an African cancer research company is based in Ghana, and it is affordable. Even if it's a little bit expensive, you can't buy health. Life, you can't buy life. It's your bank encourage you and bar a man so more encourage you no girlfriend and I didn't book and I did demo some of the symptoms, sometimes you see blood and all that and abnormalities, and that's not necessarily mean say but we'll check here. But because so I know that this is a man who and but at the end of the day, no, mommy camera. But also so send when they only Miss Anna was a mobile. Yes, really. I'm some walk, maybe I'm some walk worry. Ethiopia. Eritrea. And see, and I know, say, most of your friends are women, as the same as Mr. Ashley. So, what from a distance, and what can you say about smear test and cervical cancer?
Well, I mean, it's obvious. You've already ruled me out as a man, and therefore I have no say in women affairs.
You would know more anyway.
Why would I know?
Because you go there.
Anyway, I mean, I think for me, for what I gathered from the story, and I think Sanita has already covered both, if anything at all, I can say on the specific topic, But I think it's more, well, because we mentioned about the fact that it is not free under the health system in Ghana, and I find it very defeating, in its sense like that, because if you really want to curb the situation, that is, you need to make this become part of, very similar to the way when they started doing the immunization programs, where you get, mothers to go into the local health centers to do the screening of their children and all those things. I think when you bring it to the basic level, where access to it becomes much easier and there's no financial burden on any woman, because women are very much marginalized as a group in Ghana already. The lowest income earner in Ghana will be a woman. So all the odds are basically against women, in our world, and I'm specifically mentioning Ghana. So I think that if for genuinely the WHO, as you did indicate, they actually very much concerned about it, and I suspect there probably will be some funding available for some of these, because usually if it's a massive problem, there will be that sort of intervention, and you can actually appeal to them through the government, through WHO programs that they do, and maybe some funding available, and now you start making access to smear tests becomes much more of a daily routine, really. That is the way you want to fight it. But also, I think because our systems also in Ghana, the issue of digitization where people are already in the system and there's a red flag that raised when your time is due, the system picks you up automatically and letters are sent to your GP practice. You know, we don't have those sort of centralized or decentralized system, and therefore, and also is part of the problem because everybody has a busy life. I mean, you did mention if your life is at risk now, but we all know everyone is scared of the hospital. We are hospital in the context of things. So to enable that, you know, means access to it should be granted in terms of the financial part of it, and also the government agencies need to work to ensure that the enforcement of that, you know, goes in hand with the assets. So one quite let someone will highlight, will indicate to you, say, will smear test time as well as a woman they are screening. You know, these early intervention program, it's already been established that every early intervention saves a lot of life. So that would be the way forward, you know. But look, it's a health, it's a financial burden. And as I said, because it gets in the whole,
I think also there's a stigma attached to the situation whereby people think say, yeah, you know, because maybe it's a crowd, but it's nothing to do with that anyway, because anyone can actually get it. We know how it forms anyway, but I know that there shouldn't be anything attached to that. So like it's just abnormality that, you know, it just needs. And to be honest with you, they don't at times anyway. Your body can flush that out anyway, depending on they know. And if it's not anything serious anyway, there's obviously the test that you do. They will be able to detect it, like, you know, a bit will be able to be more frequently than normal, just to make sure that your body is also kind of, you know what I mean, it's flashing it out or you're okay. So it kills a lot of people. That, as I said, you know, from that girl now who, as I said, that actually highlighted the whole situation. So like a common book around we, you know, when people just it kills a lot of people. Like normally if it gets to the stage of in term that means, you know, maybe I will do this too far, they can't save you. And as Sammy said anyway, it's like, you know, it's difficult to sort of track people where they live. Because so people are catching now. This is what when I spoke to this doctor in Ghana, they catch now almost say, okay, Martin, what will you do? You know, and mobile when they not I west and where it is, so they are almost near the situation. And that's what we need some kind of education. The way we educate about, you know, be careful when you're crossing the roads and stuff like that we do in Ghana. It's equally important that even men and women, because I think Sammy, I don't know if you listen to that program. I remember you said you listened to that program because in your man it wasn't to do with your man, you know, needs to go and check this thing.
She mentioned about breast cancer.
Yeah.
Men also get breast cancer.
Yeah.
I was very surprised about that.
Yeah, so it's really good. So like even though we're talking about that, not only, you know, there's other cancers around and whether we all need to do some checkups, and for men as well, you need to do the same thing, you know, the breast cancer and everything. We need to. But I think for this to enable this to be kind of easier for everyone, I think government, there should be some kind of incentive in place that will help and make it easier for people to just go and have a normal checkup, you know, checkup of other things. Because cancer, they say there's so many types of cancers, and it could be any type of cancer anyway to be picked up. So it shouldn't really be just focusing on this cervical cancer, but there's other cancers that we also need to look into.
Yeah, but that was for more insight. Oh dear, but my main call so Mr. Sammy touch on how important it is, and Anita touch on how important it is. And Anita mentioned something to do with stigmatization. And from the program, some Ghanaian women and things that even if you are diagnosed that you feel that if you are like HIV when HIV came, it also be a way HIV be a simply or Sibrani and as through prostitution, which is actually not the case all the time. So how can men and our fathers support women and in that to encourage that? We know that there's an element of finance that is still with it and that needs to be kind of supported by government. But how can men in general and our fathers and uncles support women to go for these kind of tests?
No, thank you very much. Let me say, in fact, a second so lost in our living is just too much. And see, for us to know that there's a solution to a problem, let me say sometimes more Emma so that probably lose their soul. It's so difficult. If you say to answer your question, what happens is I think education over Kaya when ACE came those days, there was so much advert on ACE at a point. Now even people fear to have a relationship because initially our perception was it was purely sex and blood transfusion. And now and my people I'm for cautious, right? The point is education is the key, whatever we do. And I think where we are, they say, we share our part of the world now, as much as government should take its own part. Your point has been said, why say a member any say a boy and they say a member should take this up and support their wives and their concubines or whatever to go for it, because at the end of the day concubines it comes to a point look I say only if your mommy warm now unfortunately be preventable right once now nothing we jump on the account. Well, my dear, no train, not campus. So these are issues that if you say men should take it up, but I believe say all these things should be through education, right? Sort of advert, either through the Ghana Ministry of Health or the Ghana Health Service or any other body. I think maybe some of these things can be sponsored by companies. I mean, pharmaceutical companies or whatever, just for corporate social responsibility. So I believe say yes, MEMA should help in that direction. But that notwithstanding, I think say government answers more than say yeah. In fact, in this country, some of these things, some companies when they sponsor them, they get some tax holidays for that reason. And so by the government indirectly sponsor adverts to make sure say life will not be lost to that extent. It means that all our say we have an obligation as MEMA to educate and support our wives to just visit the hospital when the time comes. But the downside of this problem, any nana, you probably can all Ghana. Any BB can be I'll tell you for a fact, I'm a firm believer in the BB because I lived in a village and it has cured many ailments. Me and myself, I mean, excuse me to say, they have very medicinal powers. Seriously, you might take them for granted, but they work. I must be frank with you. However, Nana, Sisi, and probably Ghana, and the quack so-called the front saying, a group for on one dot too much. Those days they were genuine people. They even don't do it for money, right? How I can't just say for capitals and the NPB and that kind of. I'll call it a bit of a backward mentality. However, they were genuine.
Are they not regulated?
Right.
No,
they are still not regulated.
Someone jump into the bus and they start talking on it. They don't know what to do. The way we
preaches and they that's a soft work. What I saw is of the what is this? I think that the earlier we try to punish such people who mislead, right, ignorant people to believe that they are so-called potions and whatever is what is going to solve problems. So, and the government should look at that area. Because I'm not a of power Ghana. Seriously, even this COVID people are claiming that they can do. Meaning say yes, personally, not a Brobene and Kachani idea. They were and I believe they were big, they were good, they were powerful. I must be frank with you. Up to today, I believe that thing went a long way to prevent him from having any infection because made the whole of the COVID time. So now me I never stayed home for a day. Every day, I'm meeting clients. But before I'm calling me, trust my some of them so below whatever. At the point is as much as they are powerful, the quack ones now so many say they are not regulated. Then Samia comes. It's a government should look at that. Go further and go for the cancer. Yes, we want to be prove it. Yeah, that's right. Improve. The improvement is to be savvy. I mean, the problem. It is. I believe in that. I must frankly be compared to the Western. Me believe say yes. They really be powerful. I just say research, but until you do the research and it's proven. We shouldn't make people just go and sell it out there and to believe. Right? Say almost on you'll be one say I too is just like Anita okay. I too is not what about say you could have prevented it.
Yo, Ima, yeah, better was it. And Siciano, if you just remember what me person say, awareness you may so now was Subusuauti Sabria. Yes, share for dear Weduma, which is a bit of a twist from what we normally talked about. Also, the head of this year, the Aguri Baba Bishaswan, also this week, he also work on a PAT road destroyed by explosion begins. Also, the Ministry of Road and Highway has begun work on the ditch created in the PAT, a community near Bogoso. According to the statement shared on Facebook page, the ministry said the contractor, MS Gabriel Kautu, has mobilized to site currently working at a PAT. The road linked Bogoso to Takwa had a crater created in and after vehicle transporting explosive to Charino gold mines exploded. And police say the vehicles crashed with a motorbike which caught fire and in turn triggered the explosion to explode. The explosion has taken dozens of lives whilst leaving others severely injured and many others displaced. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources says it has begun investigation into the explosion and has promised to bring people culpable to book. Yes, same call for one they will bring you will bring them to book. Yet a Ghana and not dependent be on where you can see they will back to book. Number one, I met Swanley. They didn't go for any book. And penny for me, you cool magic or quite from when the every be open your opinion I could book. Now, Sisia, a semi-year, a pay a hint and is it true? My God, when the mamma first story, mamma shall say every Samia because some medium sense say no, or say anything because one of the sayings why I say I love nonsense because it makes his mind to see it kind of what's it
wakes up the brain cell.
It wakes up the brain cell. Sorry, and this week, yes, sorry, book or so explosion, no, you said, me sure so when you be actually. Now, what was your initial reaction? Said dynamite and now, motorbike on one now, idea a yet dangerous, no. But you make trouble for you, it's your phobia. When you picture the Bianche, when you video the Bianche, can you describe?
Well, I'll be very surprised with Bianche's answer to be by now, Ghana. But you asked the question about how my
you will actually don't be surprised because yesterday, as at 1 a.m. and 9 a.m., you go for me, you Kasai.
Almost say, and my busy night shift no does. But yeah, I mean the whole saga, when it unfolded, was a bit of a shock. I mean, a bit of a shock is an understatement, really. It was actually quite shocking, the devastation that I saw. I mean, when it started, obviously we all didn't see the video of the before the explosion. It was mainly about the reporting and the whole way that it feels like there has been a war situation where a bomb has been thrown, and the area which blasted, the destruction and everything. So it was difficult to even read, let alone to talk about seeing the images after that. I mean, some of the videos that I did see, were quite what's the word?
Gruesome.
Brutal. It was very gruesome, and it was brutal too, and it was very difficult to actually watch. I was curious, and my curiosity is mainly to do with the fact that I know this will come as a topic for us to have a discussion on. So I basically wanted to see what, but I still couldn't watch it, Nana. Seeing, I mean, excuse me, I have to use the cruel nature of the words, the body parts, that were scattered, as a result of the blast. And it was such a shock. I mean, I know accidents do happen in Ghana, but I guess my main shock is what has led to the accident, in its entirety. So that was my first reaction. Now it was so much unbelief. But again, I mean, it brings so many questions that we still haven't been able to get answers for. And I suspect as time goes on, the reporting of this will become much more clearer, and especially the investigation that is being done now by the police, and maybe they might come out with some kind of a report, a detailed report of the series of events that happened prior to the vehicle, the collision, the explosion, But for me, and there are so many things I can speak for an hour about this because of
Don't speak an hour.
Yeah, I'll take some elements of it, which is actually quite worrying. And I think Anita actually touched on this in our earlier topic and discussion that we just had about the smear test and the issues regarding the cervical and the issue regarding the education aspect of it. And it's a societal epidemic at the moment.
That's the word.
Yeah,
Epidemic.
that we seem to. So we are. It looks like the idea around safeguarding safety, health and safety is actually not in our thoughts processes in Ghana at all. And I'm telling you, 100%. I haven't seen every video that I see, not only this incident, every video that I see about an incident, when you expect people to run away from it, they're actually running towards it. And it's very historical in nature. Since social media became much more, open for us to all see things that are happening now. And every single video tend to see, say, people are now more concerned about who will be the first person to report this incident on their social media page, to become whatever the viewership of it, and so much not concern about their safety. And going back to that video that I saw, where the people that were walking towards the fire when it was actually such a massive blaze, and my understanding was that the driver and of the vehicle, or the security perhaps, were warning people to move away from that, and they were not actually being heeded to the advice. I don't know how loud they were, but the truth of the matter is that they actually did. And also my understanding again was that the driver had to move away to see where the biggest impact will be, which is a school which was close to where the vehicle was parked, because he knew what was there. Had to go to the school, tell the school to get the school kids out of the school, and they have to move them. So from the report, it does suggest that the lives of those kids were saved. So you could see a situation where that incident, has brought out a whole kind of webs of so many things that in our system is so totally not working at all. So that's one aspect of it. So I feel the issue of education within our curriculum, our education system, within the curriculum, where health and safety should become part of the core subjects or core topics, even if it's not even a subject, but it should carry a huge part of the curriculum that we do in those social studies subjects that the kids study in school. for the idea of, safety to be drummed home, very, very loudly, for the kids to start the understanding of it from the basic level all the way to the secondary level. Now we shouldn't finish, because in the workplace we know employers know the right thing, but they will still not do the right thing because they want to find the best way to get away with it. I'm talking in the context of our system. But if society is very much educated and very much aware about these things, now the voicing out of these can prevent some of these unfortunate incidents from happening. So it is a massive, massive, it's an opportunity, Nana, and I'm hoping that, when accidents like this happen now, the best opportunity you have is to now think about it and reflect and start learning from how do we prevent something like this from happening in the future, because it's going to happen again. Even in this country, it does happen. Accidents still do happen, but they always then. When they taking these highly dangerous or inflammable goods and the safety in the past it wasn't like that, but through exactly similar things that are happening. I'm sure we could just go Wahanka, you probably give us a bit more detail about that, where a safety car will be in front, another safety car behind. I don't even think they even have a specific car that even goes through communities, So there are so many things as I did say, if I want to go into more things that I even want to speak about on this place, I don't think so. We'll give enough time to actually speak out, because it's such an indictment on our negligence attitude towards everything that we do as a people in Ghana, where through all the way through government, through down all the way down through the individual civic responsibility as a person who you should know better. Say, when you see flames, you run away from the flames. You don't run towards the flames. I mean, who does that? When you want to get close to the flames and start taking photos, how do you know what is in the flames? On hindsight, yes, of course, hindsight always tells us that, you could do better than what you did. But it's because mainly in people's head, they don't see the urgency and the dangers of some of these things that happen, in our society.
Sorry, Medawase. Mommy, moving on a little bit is and me by we all know that everybody will tell you that there is an issue with identification as a bias started straight away from even when we're talking about cervical cancer. But let's look at Asemi by I don't want us to politicize it, but sometimes you can't force yourself down to go down that route. A year Ellen Ama Baku Abba out, a year National Women Organizer for the NPP. And Nasema or Dibeto Ija and say this rain is pure negligence. But my question is, and she doesn't even think say a year company no or way na or and die to the victim's family no I say a fake on Jindy say a genuine. Na as oba penny a fie and party net and education is such a massive thing for this current government. And do you think, sir, I don't know who would like to pick up this, either Obaya and I said Mr. Emmanuel Ashley. Do you think, sir, as a very potent and influential woman of the MPP of this current government, is it right for you to come out at this time to come and give these kind of speech? And what is the MPP government or the current government doing at the moment? Say these sort of education, can I believe say a lot of things last week and to quite see what cry go food na they go watch your camera edis or insta see a pattern na and for them to come out, for her to come out to say this is total negligence and even move and die and cry a fake. What do you think?
As someone, yes, I haven't really been able to watch the video fully because it's just too much for me to bear. And obviously, I've watched a bit of the video of the incident, like I can't shake or fall none of who try you, whatever it is. And we all know, so when this thing happens now, there's so many things at times you think about the system and you just think everything is wrong. It's not like we don't have all this education, we've got all the book knowledge, we've got all the knowledge, we've written all this stuff, but we really don't follow them. So idea shit, right? Now you don't even know you don't even know you don't even know what's in there now. Even if even a member of the parliament to even say anything, obviously when there's an investigation, I say you don't talk about it. You just say we are looking into it, because until say while concluding with your investigation, you can't really sort of give any overview of your view what you think it has happened. All these things is wrong. There was this incident whereby our reporter, from Eddie told him about Mammy in the bar. Obi na hang you more so no so na the bar ko hang e wo fo bi more say quiet bi more wherever is na ko fo na hono mo hwe na se fo na Mammy in the bar hang. You know, there's so much, like when you watch it like really angry, and I get really angry with the system, because and education is also play a big part in the whole thing. So there's nothing that, you know, we don't teach our youngsters, and as a people say, like, when who be say you're not supposed to approach it, because you couldn't. I mean, I make evidence, yeah, like the back of you know, there's so many things. So from the government to the people that live in it, and I'm not saying everyone, what I say, but what I'm saying is that from the government down to you know, you and I, like the people that are living in the country, there's negligence on every level. And it starts with education, right? It starts with education. So like, and we are talking about people that are so educated, you know, and you just think it's like, but you shouldn't make any conclusion. You shouldn't be standing there saying, I think this is what has happened when the investigation hasn't even concluded. Because first of all, it's a good thing that I did not happen now. You actually come forward. Once I learned from marketing, anyway, when the bad things happen, you should be the first person to, you know, acknowledge that did not happen, like you're sorry, whatever. It's let the investigation finish. Then you can actually, you know, may come out and say whatever you want to say, because all that in here is part of the living issue anyway. And I really don't know how we and I think I'm beginning to think that like we need a system whereby big organizations in the more Ghana, more running these things, they start paying for this stuff. They need to pay. People need to pay for this, you know. I mean, there should be consequence for these actions. You know, there should be a way of monitoring and making sure that these things are who carry among say explosions or wherever it's in the piano. As Sammy said, you know, there's a way of transporting it. You don't transport it through. And I know we have a problem with the road systems, because obviously we don't have many roads and everything is messed up. But there should be a way whereby, as far as I said, if it's
safety measures,
and I said this, it could be something so simple as you say Ghana system, we don't have a lot of our fire ambulance is not readily available. So this equipment, and as a car it could have some things to be that if anything was to happen, and they can jump in and, you know, may prevent it or just try and stop it and educate people to move out, you know, something. But you know, it is something so small steps, baby steps to get somewhere. At the moment, it happened now. We just talk about it and that's it. Look at Circle many years ago, about 10 years or 9 years ago, when it burned down. You think it will never happen again. People forget. As I say, I can't want some alternatively will be move on. The same thing I can't want somebody said they shouldn't be doing. The same thing they will do next time. It's like Obia will never change, but yet, but it happened to be able to for the same people who jump ahead. They don't think about, you know, I mean, what could happen? Like, you know, there's no fear factor. There's no, you know, there's no like, mommy, stay back. Let me make sure they base your episode down on and it's a law. I don't even know how we change the system, but there should be a way accountability from the companies to the government. You know, and we also as people don't have to start, you know, taking some responsibilities and like, you know, through education, say like we can't be doing this thing, because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. So your life is at risk when something is burning and you feel so like, oh no, you're not showing pictures. What does it make? Or be able to hang it now, you're like, oh, be able to touch it, but they're not so good. What do you get out of it? And to me, it's totally, you know what I mean, it's chaos everywhere, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Obaya, yeah, but I was in my main call, you must start on actually. So, said so many Anita are kind of almost in the same, they dancing to the same tune, talking about safety, talking about education. Sevi, a year Bogo so DC, yeah, I think 2 days after there was an explosion in Kasi, that is Ashanti region, I don't know whether you know they're close to there, where they have the abattoir. Tankabi, Ejatomu, Eshe. Now, what was interesting, some footage via me who you know, Onkofo petrol, even though people to and good so just to try and control the fire, no? And in their own way, they try to control the fire. And where are the professionals? That's the fire ambulance. Where are they? Why should we have to leave the fate of the communities, you know, in their own hands? And besides that, and besides other ways that obesity in Nigeria petrol now, honestly, oh baby, I have got on. And see, mommy, beside this question, we're talking about education, we're talking about safety. Who is responsible making sure say Ghana for your Ghana, we have the right education so that you start dealing a danger young accident is here. And you say you per se out of a good heart, if you see but the year handling panel, you couldn't cry or accidents you want to the hospital because of the way we handle. Whose responsibility is it in terms of the safety and education here can once?
Nana, I'm saying, Mr. Nunu, the language you use. Or say at every point in time, the buck stops with a leader. What makes somebody a leader? We make the person a leader because we want the person to think for us. And that's why we take so much money to pay such people huge sums of money in terms of, remuneration. And they retire on their salary till they die. Nobody else does that apart from what they call the Asia 71 holders. Because we want them to do thinking for us. And everybody knows thinking doesn't come easy. Except some people tells you he believes in, stupid issues because they actually activate the brain cells. So they are there for a purpose. And then I'll be saying, whom should we blame? The first point is the government, the leadership. Nana, let me share this here. In the Ghana Mining Act, a part for health, safety, and technical issues in the Mining Act, which stipulates, say, when you are transporting certain materials, there should be precaution measures that should be taken. They are all there. But who actually see to the implementation of some of these things? In fact, the enforcement of it. My own partner, George, now made him come up at the he worked in the mining sector and was Tapa for a long time. And he was telling me, say, at their place, you see, that is the problem I have with our system. Everybody gets up and he says, I am doing this work, right? And he can get in. Chinese are I know when you're concession, or to treat assassin your pay. There are no rules and regulations. This Muslim company, I don't know where they are coming from. But in fact, you say it will be some sham small foreigner to make it or her own money and go back to his or her country. And we have a government who has issued a license to such organizations. Right. Your Minister of Employment, your Minister of Health, I think the two of them can come together. And even if there wasn't any, right, they should come up with a different health and safety policy or a regulation for the country. But from George, what he told me, they just said in Ghana, it will help for the mining sector. So when they are moving, like, I'll say, is it dump truck or whatever, to places, they have some safety cars ahead and behind for them to transport it. And they transport it usually at night. This is common sense, but this is a foreign organization which is well established. It's an Australian mining company, right? So they think, like, excuse me to say, that kind of business. They are in to make sure that there's safety. The question that comes up is, who should be responsible? A minister for employment, whoever, sorry, I'll say they should just, close the company down. You see, sometimes your Ghana, I don't see how we think.
I don't know.
Shut them down for what?
I think
it is a major reaction.
But I think the criminal aspects of the investigation will still carry on. But maybe the temporary solution now, okay, this company can operate based on the, what has happened.
Good.
But if it is about issue of criminality, maybe the investigation will still take those.
So these are the issues. So the point is, you don't just jump to that conclusion. You leave it to stand.
Yeah.
Let them be there. They can't operate for now, right? You don't shut them down. They are there, and that's what will make you get to the bottom of the matter and get all the fact, the evidence you need, right? Whether to prosecute people or whatever, criminally or whatever, then you are going to look at that. But at the moment, this knee-jerk reaction, everybody ran away. You need information, you need data to be able to draw these conclusions in terms of evidence that will happen. You close them down. Where are you going to get that information? You see, this other sense, you rather send police to go and protect.
The suspension of the license.
That's why suspend the license, stuff like that. You send police or protection of that their environment. So nobody can go in there to touch anything.
The legality aspect of it. Can the minister actually close their company?
No.
Sammy, that's what I'm telling you. These are the major reactions.
Minister, do you have that power to close?
Ghana, they can do anything. Don't you remember? Is it Minister Mwapata or whatever? When somebody were building, they had permit or whatever building, and he just went there just with soldiers or whatever national security, and they close everything. They just shut the place. Everybody should go.
But this Memphis, I'll go there. Remember, it's a small case. It makes sense. Anyway, a happy who closed it down, right? So you took everything away with him.
They took his license.
But they didn't,
which equally means basically you can't operate.
Yeah.
But the company was still there.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether this situation will be a similar situation where it is a license which has been withdrawn, but the company is still registered as a company, and therefore, if you want to do any investigation, you can still do it.
These are the issues. But back to your point. Now, seriously, at PAT, in fact, a whole papa 1 year just beyond the. I know the area very well because I live in Nenchi. And when we are coming from Nenchi to Bordia to Bogos to Tapa, that's how I travel. So I know the place very, very well. And I'm so saddened this happened. So I know the town extremely well. I mean, from Tallahassee to now.
Hold on, mommy. One other thing, we're talking about education, and you said we should hold the government accountable for safety and in terms of education. Looking at moving back, said Obaya my instance where said Koshi, craft, Latin, whatever. So there's some basic in Yamabia. Ghana, sometimes when we talk big English. Our politicians, they speak very good English. Even when we go to the English-speaking country, we speak better English than them. I think we are good at it, but when we talk about policies, and you just went and realized that it's written there black and white. So is it because we are good writers? But actually, when we get to the practicality of it, because Ekroma, I know, Sebi, Obaya Bemaya Adansi, and they put things in place, and yes, they naturally click. But you follow up, and they have time, even something to do with training. Induction. They do a refresher. Some of them every 3 months, some of them 6 months, some of them every year. Is it because of the monetary aspect or the financial commitment? Cut it. Honest, and I said, what is actually our problem?
Good. Now, let me just answer you simply. Come back to Mr. Nunu. The buck stops with the leadership. Look, me as an employer, my office, I would not like to go for employer liability insurance. Every year. But because the law has restricted me into over £1,000 every year, better lost account when it's here. Now, there's 1 bedroom. You know what I mean? It's human nature. That is human nature. And yet, look at what's happening at, even here in this country. What is happening at number 10 at the moment. Where the law works, and the law works from the top, where the institutions are being empowered and given their rightful position to do what they think they want to do. right? Then the system will work. And like you said, no, yes, in Ghana, all these stories that happened. Just say, your friend is saying, Circle, how many years ago? The tanker you just mentioned, tanker the ABC and say need 4 years, just less than 2 years, I guess. And also Sana and Crawford fuel, and they all died. Just a short while.
Mass explosion in I think Asokwa years back.
So there are common things that happens, but when they happen after, what does government do about them? What does the leadership do about them? You got what I mean? When the leadership does something about it and begin to implement the rules, then people, as human as we are, I be that we are nip as we are, the easiest way to get out of things. Sunny again, and I make us a George say they also now a logistics department. That's where they make their money. Because some take them once another Burkina Faso, Omuni port, they don't define Ghana. And to almost two, they call Burkina Faso, almost two from Ghana, they be there 1.5 weeks and some of Burkina Faso because they will go only in the night. You see how the speech say the open-minded things, right? Into a natural they call. Into a they call with safety card, and safety department of the company, no, the Australian company, no. They say, conveyor. Into a baby hotel. What you got? I mean, the hotel available to come back for them.
They're doing it right.
They are doing it right. That's the point. They are doing it right because they are thinking like they are in Australia, and the rules are there, so they are following it. But I won't be surprised. Some Mazami at the point that they ever come, one China gun and Nibia, and a Chinese being or a gun and Nibia, or that kind of thing. And they are just doing anything. They even don't know the rules of the industry they are operating within.
Sure
and these are the issues. Fine.
Of course, they know you want this business.
Okay. But the point is, Nana, what we have as a country is set leadership and try and implement some of these policies and take people on. And I make a have meaning young, not about me. I'm a human being. My person is more, but the law compels you to do them, whether I like them or not. One income overspeeding. Okay, overspeed. Who call it now? Wouldn't say later. You overspeed. But because we say come and make sure and they'll buy who knew how we have former connection with baby, right? Because the system is working. And I think until our leaders, because the leaders themselves, excuse use that word, sometimes they themselves are culprits of some of these acts. So in the end, they protect themselves at the expense of the society.
Okay, sorry. Can we observe about way township now can say
appears, yeah.
How is it? I mean, I'm trying to draw a virtual sort of real picture of how the community and the road is and how the car will go through that community. I mean, I'm just trying to think what must have caused the accidents to. I mean, so is it a very narrow road?
It's not a narrow road. It's a two-way road.
Right.
It's an asphalted road. That's the start of the story. It's an asphalted road. But what it is, they say, chrono side of her, one side of her. But car you're just in and out. And you're like to fall in or whatever. It's just one lane. But it's properly asphalted.
So the road is actually good.
The road is very, very good.
What's the cause the accident?
The road is very, very good. And I say, and your crook is CSR, they say. It's part of one, and the street never couldn't them. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, it does look like it happened at the edge of the
town.
Exactly.
The mid, yes.
Imagine how the devastation if this has been somewhere in the middle.
It is a sad story, but my opinion is either the maid or whatever. You see, you were talking about education. You see, when you were kids, I remember people growing up in fact that mentality. Sometimes Ghana be being sitting not or whatever. And that attitude, I think our education, just like you mentioned, should let us rethink that thing.
Own business.
It is come on. What is to Ghana whatever they want to go and say and tell and whatever. And it's sometimes it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Look at this one. Seriously, saying yes, probably this thing could blast and cause some havoc, but life will be saved. And a lot of life will be saved. And they just want to go there and see or coffee and exactly what it is. And I think that we need education. First report, I think
it's not like we're trying to blame people that are dead in that sense. We just trying to raise the awareness. Because sometimes when you're not very careful, so because the main culprit is the company that negligence the aspect
cause the accident. Fine.
If they haven't done this is what we have said that we're going to look at the fire. Their lives will be.
Sammy, don't forget the tanker issue. How did it happen? These are the issues. In the point I'm looking at the bigger picture. It's not the PAT incident per se, but most of our problems is generic. It's generic. That's the point I'm looking at.
Mr. Emmanuel Ashley said, "I sit the bus stop with the driver,
the leader.
Yes. And this is here, Mama, this is what Banda was. I do show boy, where there is your time. Make sure you put some measures in place. Gonna force your my break. Now, young quiet name. And so when you know, we talking about the safety education. And try this week, so we ready set story, no, a young crew. And I'm crying and talk quest see Nima. And now, I was very surprised. Say a true pa as a shank of one up in himself. It was a shank of one who's Ghana. Now we're talking about, let's look at the safety of Ghana as we stand. Because and you say a parliamentarian see or which blows can see the more didn't I about TV so my movie. And Chebia as a vigilante in face the country for or many bread demonstration be one other than Topa. And Che a crime sa 2022 years that's here fresh. And Nima boys and he find whatever misunderstanding that it's true that we lost life. This week, last week we talked about it. Not last week, probably the week before. Something and Doma and also a rally, a rupture, some a bit of a before in the youth. All these things come to the safety of Ghanaians. Where are we as a country? Now we're talking about education. Now we're talking about violence. Now we're talking about safety. Sisi I say yes, Ghana. A DNA youth no. How many break Sisi we pedo be just kind. And then you pony power of buy this that I know we say talking about this story. Yeah, hang you be asset. Kofona mo hang you mo and pampa so be the hang you mo. We don't know. We bet here some of the stories will be just because of full sets and the girlfriend, the girlfriend. So full set what story be say no question. What is causing? What is happening in our country?
The issue of gang culture in Ghana is not a new thing in its entirety of how it was reported in the paper. I grew up in a community where I'm used to seeing the gang rivalry between different sectors and different neighborhoods. Sometimes sometimes as small as just you from my neighborhood. You cannot actually come and do whatever it is that you want to do in our neighborhood. I remember growing up, there were some times that we go into fights with guys that were just close to us, and we're fighting over just a woman because one of the women is in our community, and the guy that is chasing the woman is coming in our community to come and chase the girl. And that's something that simple as that. We actually went into some serious fighting. So, and I'm not talking about a huge community. It's just an area, small patchwork communities within in a town where we have these sort of. But we were not as violent, as I've witnessed very serious violence with clan-based violence and within. But if even the clan in not necessarily a tribe, but within one tribe, but there are different clans within the tribe. And now actually it's good I probably have to mention in Alajo there are two factions within those times when we were growing up. there were two factions within the community. One of them, it became very much one family that divided into two, so sort of, and the faction became such prevalent that it became very political in nature. One aspect of it was with the NPP, the other aspect was with the NDC. I don't know if you know IC Quay. He was the Greater Accra Regional Minister. He's faction. So there was that tension. I remember very clearly when we get in towards elections, not only presidential, parliamentary, even sometimes local level election, the sort of violence that was witnessed within that community, and it's mainly within those factions and knives. The only time I've never witnessed that gang violence where there has been any gang. The Nima Mamobi incident. So I have a lot of friends in Accra, Newtown. With Nima, I used to go to Nima is one community that I was so scared of. We normally go to Mamobi, play football, go to Nima, but Nima is not for the small boys. So to speak, you have to be very heavy-hearted to actually try to even, go to. And that was when we were growing up. We were so much scared of that. So the Mamobi Nima rivalry has always been there, long time ago. Even Accra, Newtown also. So those things were there and long time ago. And I remember the fights inside it was happening. But all those whiles, there were no guns in that. It was more, and sometimes there were knives involved. It was very violent. But the level that I witnessed from what I saw is now progressed from more of a local sort of rivalry into more pure New York gangsterism sort of thing. Well, or maybe in the UK, most of the gangs, yes, there's guns involved, and knives, but they mainly use knives than guns. So when you start moving from knives into guns, it means that you basically progress, into a different level, and that is where the danger for me is, because.
Yes. Hold on, Mami Kakra. I'm saying Bismarck, a reporter from Kumasi, what Angel FM, and what so now because we're talking about safety, we're talking about all these Ghana explosion. Now, Bismarck will report me mine. Hello, Bismarck. What's the main can? Bismarck, sir, one no from Kakra. What's the main can? Hello, Bismarck. Yeah, Patrol man call. I think I'm saying. Oh, Bismarck, I'm online. Okay, yeah. Bismarck, what's the name? Manenko. Manenko. General, this much, General Mammy. Also, fire service for no to car emergency in a bar, hope the hair say, a Johnny Yampa, na and some.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Na odimoto ni drew hono a odu hono na enokra na de nti na one frame ne backup no ama for with nsio no na dis ono ankasa na sade moto yi etoto mu asade ko So and names and they are president me one. Sunday as I'm seven. Some say dozens. It's barely probably 17. Oh, Bismarck, yeah, I'm set, yeah. What's the main car? Your Bismarck, Janae, Kakrama, me, I'm so online on Yente on Kapapa. It's here for a year Bismarck, now senior or Wagana, and besides, a year enjoy FM, no good to energy, ma, or not a fray, you know. On my dear Costa Wagana, M set Bismarck, Ababa. Bismarck, what's the main car? Meto on Kappa, Manenko. Yo, Bismarck, ready, ye better was a pa, war, Chirimoa, or dear Maye, a fat dear Cosso, a Wagana. Not before so, Becono, said this week, so, said school for be almost say, and you maybe to do a rape cases be a Cosso Wagana, and no better to me at a Wakakra, actually, if one son, a wako. Jina Kakrama me, a best man, a homo. A positive for a more positive woman here. Yo, ready, yeah, better was a Bismarck. Ghana citizens and then contract once a year can. Na ye mpanimfoɔ ne nkɔla bɔtɔm a ɛsɛ sika ne nhyɛ obi abɔtɔm deɛ ɛnɛ ma w'ani ni ahyire bɔtɔ biara yɛwura mu a mesrɛ twe wo camera no na fa hwɛ so dii na ebi ana nyame nkyɛ de yɛakɔhu sɛ ɛhyɛ obi bɔtɔm yɛ obi smart wei deɛ ɛbɛda ase ɛbɛgye berɛ ne ada wase yɛ time ne nti nyame nka wo ho yɛda ase paa etiefoɔ ɛyɛ Bismarck ɛyɛ yɛn namusini a ɔwɔ Angel FM Kumasi ɛna obi to ɔyɛ n'adwuma ɛne na wama report a ɛkɔ so ɛwɔ Ghana before say Bismarck bɛba na Sami ɛwɔ line so Sami was talking about safety Ghana, how safe are we? Say Bismarck Rambo am I a little bit more insight said to answer say wouldn't now do ba kwa you don't have see you just you do like but one way happen we want say what to come then why
you be that?
That's it. I'm not cool. We for. We.
And a Roman father be in here, that confession.
Ghana government, yes, police for crashes. Yeah, more police for crime, yeah, more police for money. It's just a bow to once a no your bar. None of more effect a crack. Behuania Bunayasiabu. Now the day I say, do can I crab when I say, we for Bunayasiabu. So I mean, how safe are we? This year, Cranaway don't go to the Bunayasi. Or one feels so, and I'm the crazy way, Nima. Yeah, how safe are we as a country?
Well, I mean, the safety aspect, man, I mean, the issue with gangs, new, you know, and like I said, I mean, I've witnessed so much gang violence. Not like I'm involved in the gang violence, let's say.
But when you're involved,
I grew up in a community where I've witnessed these things, you know, very quite common, you know, but it was on a very low level. I wouldn't call it gangsterism because we are more like area boys that we call ourselves. And you can't come and chase a woman in an area. No.
Is it about a clan?
No, I'm talking. This one is within a small, you know, small common areas. But the clan aspect, maybe it was more. I think that one was very much influenced by politics. You know, with the division of the MPP and NDC along that line. And that actually fed into that. But the Nima one that is happening, and the Nima and Mawobi incident, from what I've read, it is very more of dominance as to who basically dominates within a specific. So, but I was making reference to that. But my point is next. My point is I have never witnessed those issues, you know, where there were. Guns involved. I have seen fights where there are knives involved, cutlass and knives involved. I've seen that, but I haven't actually witnessed the one that it goes to the level where, you know, from what we saw on the TV. So it's very clear that the proliferation of arms, you know, proliferation of arms in Ghana is becoming. It's a problem to say that. I think it's easy to get access to a gun now in Ghana than it was when we were growing up, and that is the biggest fear. When I did see, and one of the things that I said, I remember in a discussion with someone, he said, God forbid, you know, in Ghana, said anything serious will happen in terms of what we witnessed in Rwanda and all those other countries where there were war, you know, as a result of politics. But if we go along those lines now, I won't be surprised the number of people that actually have access to guns in Ghana, and the number of people that actually have guns in their homes in Ghana will be very.
But is it not interesting? How did those a small percentage of those guns is locally manufactured?
Yes, but it's
so
not
how
only.
Did they, how
I mean,
did
there has been an incident where the gun have been seized in the ports before. Remember?
Say
the one that got missing.
washing machine one.
Yeah, so it does come. It comes through the system. You know, sometimes it's not only delivered that they don't sell it in Ghana per se, but it goes through the sub regions. Ghana becomes like a transit sort of area. But anytime there is transit, now it means within that country, you know, so it's spreads in the country, and that's why armed robbery. Everyone have a gun now. Every armed robber has a gun. Yes, some of them are locally manufactured, but yes, and so we have a big issue. You know, the politicians have played a bigger role in the problem that we're seeing now, where guns are being used. If you remember, the hiring of thugs to political party events to protect politicians. Then I know people, and there are things that I know that I cannot say on radio, and within the circles, you know, high level that I have grown up with, that I mean they've now changed, you know, so to speak. But it's a problem, you know. I need to stop from here, because if I'm not very careful, the thing that I will say, it might land me in trouble. But the point I'm making is that politicians they have promoted some of these problems that you see. The vigilantes
face the country.
Yes, people protecting politicians, and they have been empowered with weapons to protect politicians, you know. And as I said, I know stuff, but it's not everything I can say. I know things.
Yo, sorry, yeah, but that was sick. I know we're talking about safety, and I wanted us to exhaust the safety of Ghana as we are now. There's one story, I mean, perceive we show answer, but before see about no, my main core of so it's all about safety. How safe are you? Because last week, 2 weeks ago, we talked about a lot of Ghanaians expatriates, right? Omako Ghana, and I said Ghana for more country, Omako Ghana holidays, during the festive period, make a party about Bekonuna, Yakununa, baby, and these stories we've heard so many of them. Then we hear Omo Ghana, or everyone say, wow, free outside Ghana, on the Crampody. Everyone say, I wouldn't need Kululu, and I said, baby, I win a wako na yeti hanso na yeti omo Ghana and then obeti way driving the car do if you anymore no at gunpoint if you are shooting no yes omo be we are do you shoot na e jam and I say I find a car na ya way just last 2 weeks obi ne back car sorry odu on where you ja ignition is so obi abefa car no crowd team I or see baby chair the car and call they abandoned the car. Luckily, the baby was safe. There's so much crimes. Ekosu Ghana. Sisiano Ghana. Are you who? Because Mr. Emmanuel figure out by 10 o'clock. I say do you think
just say for your host no because some person very responsible no one buy so now that's what it is in Ghana.
Is it getting better? And I said where are we?
And then what can we do? We are at the moment we know where it's getting very scary, and you worry, like, you know, especially people that go for, you know, there's so many parties that they run every year for the kids. You know, children from here or America that wants to go. We've become like campaigning for the past 2-3 years. A lot of people went back home to the slavery and all that started to learn. And you want, as much as you are very proud, so it's your country that was doing it. What was the name of that thing they did actually? Which was really
homecoming.
homecoming. What's it called homecoming? Anyway, you know when they
It's not homecoming where all the expatriates return
Where-
a year of
return-
return.
year of
yeah,
return.
yeah, and those things when it happens, now you get assignment. You know, I think it's okay. It's your country that is chosen now of doing this thing, and people are getting to know Ghana and stuff like that. But until you can actually kind of promote this sort of or do this, you know, what I say, you have to start thinking about how to put people's safety first. We Ghana at the moment, you know, me personally, somebody said like, do I feel safe? And when I'm there, I feel safe. I don't feel safe at all. I don't feel comfortable. I mean, kind of, me, mobile 6-7. I mean, like, I won't go anywhere. To be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable. I just whereas before I always need to know Bontia whatever. But they say no, people be care. You know what I mean? Or be cool just for something so small, which to me, you know,
It's more like a phone.
yeah, phone or it's kind of walk which way because we did like 10, 15, 16. It's kind of extra. I'm back at your auntie now. That's kind of say, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to go for the organ anyway. It's just like I said. They say what to me, obviously, I blame a human whole. I'm sure a lot of people don't. That's not a plan. So they want to steal and do all these things anyway. But it's a say, Ghana human whole, people are seeing people carrying the nice phone, and people are getting all the money. You know, but it's a few people that are rich. What I say. But so also, brother, when they think that they can take you away from you. So at the moment now, I am country Ghana, baby. I personally, because I'm looking forward to going to Ghana to, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, me I said, for me, it's
You're
I
right
go
on
there
the
for
edge.
business, and that's it. Like, don't go for business, but I go
So
there
you go for business and
I go for business.
Mommy, hold on. Mommy, cut strictly to Mr. Emmanuel because we need to change the amount for personal reason. Cecilia, the stories we are hearing, because sometimes when you call home, it looks as if you speak to individual, I said, they don't seem to say it like that. How is it like on the ground? So, Ghana. How do you feel from your last trip? How would you call Ghana?
You see, Nana, there's one very, very, I would say, difficult thing in Ghana. In fact, there's a bit of lack of knowledge, a big problem as a country. And I'll tell you for a fact, if you go to Ghana, people who are conscious and have a bit of knowledge, they are always cautious. And especially to say sometimes very, very poor. In fact, he's not looking forward to anything in life. I'm sorry to use that word, but these are facts. If you ask the question, what is the reality? I'm talking about the reality. I'll tell you, people I met who are, I'll call professional, educated, and whatever, I suppose, everybody's extra cautious in their moves. In fact, a friend told me, say, or the other country, if I'm driving, that's a who will be a stop for me. My main stop number one. Number two, say, oh yes, oh, do you have anything with the car? I mean, oh yes, I'm talking of a very experienced Ghanaian. And so you're okay, financial and put that way. But these are the realities. So it is quite alarming on the ground. But it's going to say, Nana, why not be a cocoa beer? If you're also say there's no way a phone call from you. People have been, you know, you're pulling dagger on people for just phone. When you're folk the phone it's common. It's common in Ghana. So kita iPhone something S21 you be pull dagger. One farmer so be work. But I said they nipa only so start when say their phone crow get into the be so they might not. But it is a bit alarming on the ground.
Hold on 1 second. We'll be all have we not heard of stories where people has been killed for rituals? We've heard about these stories. So it's not just a target of the rich people, but people who want to amass wealth in a very way for rituals.
No, there's a sort of rituals. You look at the rituals differently. But let me tell you something. In Ghana, you have two types of the rich, like you're talking about. You have the rich. Let me use the example of who dare you go close to them? And some you can that's right. Fully armed security. They have it. You got what I mean? And you being male, that kind of rich, I'm free because he's fully protected. But I'm talking of I'll call the middle class kind of people. I don't know. I'm going to no money idea when you think I create the answer we see and not one a small car idea or one in my you can crack in the future. These are the ones I'm talking about. That's where the problem is to the poor ones. Now coming to the rituals, so yes, the ritual matters. So, Nana, sometimes our view on the rituals, I have a bit of a different view. Why do I have this bit of a different view? Nana, I am one of those people in the 90s, 1991, thereabout, who went on demonstration against Yekuma. Eventually got to know say a man were brought from some mortuaries just to discredit the government at the time. This was made public. I mean, you had a tape and you all listened to it. So yes, there are a few of these from, I think, some people say from Nigeria or whatever. So the rituals are about, I'll tell you comparatively, the ritual element is quite small compared to those who go through the robbery kind of stuff. I say, phone, that's fine. That is my view. Yes, the rituals they are there, but I think they are very, very, minute comparatively. That's what I would say.
Yo, Mr. Menashley Medawasipa, for Uchremu Odiamai. There's one more story I would like us to touch on this week. I'll tell for a time check at the moment is 58 minutes past the time. As soon as producer Amami say or Mami 10 minutes, I hopefully be able to exhaust this story before say a bit part. Now, you said this week, one other topic that was really hot topic this week is about the school calendar in Ghana. And by this is here, call the semester system. This is quite similar to the university. Now, when I buy penny for be say a mutiyomoya, there was a lot of talk, as you all know, through the media, through other outspoken people, you tagging all these groups, come against it. But what has happened now as we speak, of this school calendar, KG to JHS revert to trimester system. I'll say the Minister of Education has directed kindergarten to junior high school to revert to the trimester system school calendar for the current academic year instead of proposed semester system. Consequently, new dates have been announced for the various schools term for the kindergarten to JHS as follows. So boys age 4 to 13 welcome. Then the date, so the first term will be from the 18th of January to 14th of April, which is going to be 12 weeks. Then the second term is going to be 10th of May to the 18th of August, which is going to be 14 weeks. Then obviously third term is going to be 13th of September to the 22nd of December, which is also going to be 14 weeks. So in that case, they're going to have 12 weeks, 14 weeks, and 14 weeks for the full academic year. Now, asemi eba up, one of the way ebwa emasa asemi edi wu kesiye pa, and say a year. You talk for and I said not for but outset the psychological effect of the semester system on students and teachers will be unbearable. I just said so that loans some betina school who allow for that loan, and yet the national president of Association of NATS, like I said, the government has intended of implementing in basic school would have effects on students and teachers psychologically. According to the Reverend Isaac Owusu, the longevity of the semester, which is 20 weeks, this year about 12 and 14 and 14, would have been unbearable for teachers and students. And I would like to touch on this story, and I would like to start with Sami because Rainy, the worker say, where do you remember? And when these semester system by from that age, notwithstanding what we've just kind of witnessed in terms of history, somewhere wrap around the Bumuko school, and Nasisia, the SA, and Kora ever be caught like university system. Now they've reflected it back through the inputs of these some of these educational groups or my influence. Do you think that as a country, in terms of education system, we all know there's a problem? I'm not talking about the content because that's a different discussion. But in terms of education, do you think MPP has got it right? It looks as if they're not quite sure as to what they want.
You know, I mean, specifically about the directive that came in earlier, this early part of the year, that they wanted to go into a semester based academic calendar. You know, the trouble that I have is not necessarily with the fact that they wanted to change the school year, you know? But it is what I heard after the announcements, which obviously stakeholders, the National Association of Teachers, the other stakeholders that are concerned about education came out clearly to say they were not consulted at all from the decision of the government to move from one of the school term that we normally have into a new one. And the fact that that came out and the government have to withdraw a policy and then go back to where the previous. I mean, that is the level at which you can clearly say there is a disconnect between government coherent policy on education and what basically their manifesto plans were. It does suggest to me, and I very clearly say, at this moment, the government is working on a basic ad hoc policy basis where they go sit down in a meeting and say, we are struggling here, what can we do? And then they come up with a decision, let's change that and do A, B, and C. There's no coherence in government policy, specifically with education. Because, you know, when they started the free SHS issue, we all sat in the studio. Anyway, I have been always very vociferous on this. We sat in this studio, we told them, we said, clearly, you know, that policy, you know, has not been well thought through, because the effect of that policy is going to be one, funding. And funding always, we know, so when you start having issue with funding, you know, then it kind of derails the education policy, the policy that you have put in place. And this is what this policy they were bringing in is one of the shortfalls of the free SHSE problem that they had, because it created this system of the
the
yellow
wrap around. I call it wrap around.
And then the fallout of that is now there's some problem somewhere. We now need to start thinking about how can we actually nip that in the back. And that is why they decided that maybe a semester system might be a solution to the problem.
But I guess to stay long in scope.
Yeah, but it's not well thought through, because look, even in our trimester system that we have in the past, and then I look at how it's a 12-week duration of case study. And I'm in no means trying to compare Ghana to any other country, but you're speaking about the cognitive development of a child through adulthood, and science has indicated clearly, say you cannot the attentive span for there is a specific attentive span that you need to capture them and be able to get the whatever knowledge you're imparting. And the moment you extend that now, then it becomes much more difficult for assimilation to happen. And it's not me that say this. I mean, if you read most of these sociologists, these things are all there. And I'm not saying in any way that the education minister doesn't know all these. People in Ghana Education Service know this. Look at the previous system that we have and what they reverted to now. The school is going to start on the 18th of January and then finish on 14th of April. 14-week duration. And the only reason why they perhaps finish in early is because of the Easter. And the Easter starts from the 15th, Easter Monday 15th, then it goes on. And they have 1 week break, 12 weeks of studies for 1 week break. We're talking about an institution or education system where there's so much lacking in terms of resources itself for kids for teaching and learning to take place. So you already are behind when it comes to even what you need in terms of the teaching and learning in that 12-week duration now you have already. So Iguanano will be suffering already. You get me? In the 12-week now, 12-week, 14-week, that's a long time to have any kid in school to be learning for that period of time. In the system, and again, I'm not in any way suggesting that Ghana has to do exactly what other countries are doing. But we share everywhere. The way the education system has been planned, it's been done in such a way that there is these short breaks in between. And that's why we have the half-term system here. You go to about 7 weeks, half-term for a week, then you go on the rest of the. So like this 12-week, 14-week that they have, the planning could have been, say, the holidays that they're having in some of them, why don't you design it in such a way, say, you better remove some 3 days or 4 days from those holidays, input it into the long term, and give the kids some kind of a break, so that there will be that sort of, because learning is not only about a classroom-based activity that you do.
Course,
Kids learn through different ways, but the interaction that they have with the environment also becomes part of the learning. So rest in itself is actually learning. So that if all these things they know, and they come up with this policy, and they suddenly have to withdraw, it points back to one main fact, and they say there is no coherent policy on education that they're doing. They only doing an ad hoc, it's not this is basic for policy, because if it has been taught well through from when the manifesto pledges were made, now we would have seen this in the manifesto when they were doing this 4 more for another, 4 more for another. Did you hear about this? Did we hear that they were going to do a change from trimester? We didn't hear this. So where is this suddenly coming from? I'm not in any way thinking, say, you can adjust policy and they're about to go, but adjust it to something effective. How can this be effective? What do you mean for 20 weeks? I mean, who does that? Even the 12 weeks is a lot.
It's a lot. Mama Brown, so what do you penny I would be anytime I say this, you're not very happy about it. But it's true, you are the mother of the house at the moment.
Not my mother.
Not your mother.
No.
Like a woman, but I'll make you stupid nonsense.
That's fine.
So on a more serious note, Ghana education system, remember we talked about it in Trabia, and then we talked. They came with another kind of strategy or policy. Then we talk about Ghana education system. Remember Teacher Kojo, and I always refer to Teacher Kojo because he's just an ordinary teacher who takes a camera, put in front of him, or let's on Facebook or whatever, doing so well for when in the community in his school. And because of 1 or 2 things, this year is here in the deep, we see reverting it back, but but Ghana simply a chalk or crumble a beanie. Still in this 21st century, we must not a phone day and a blog, a chair, table, and now we want these kids to go. Are we prepared as a country in terms of education, forgetting about the content? And I don't want us today to even talk about the content, just the system alone. Are we ready? And
Ready?
As in, come what's now, this share policy more education of phone. Are we ready for it?
I think thank you, Nana. I think before you implement something into a system, I would have thought you have a thorough sort of, checks and reviews and investigation. And the teachers in Pokomocha, you want to know their view, because some of views are very important, because so if I'm wrong, I correct me anyway. So I didn't know it. So where is working, where is not working? Did they to make them quite engaged and stuff like that? All this communication needs to go through. Like there should be some kind of way of checking it. SOB to one like on so I think it's a system way better, and then you implement it, because you make a mockery of your own government when you come and say something, and we kind of try, and they say like, oh, actually, no, we've got it all wrong, because before our because I didn't hear very strongly. You also your investigation at the journal. So the journal can be now said contract here, then that means you haven't really thought about it. That tells me a lot about you as a government, that you don't think through things properly before you do them. I haven't said this in any way. I think I don't know, say if you know, like I don't know whether when we will be in school or Kumasi or wherever, which I totally agree, because my brother's kids are in school, private school. They don't believe in Kwane. You know, it's continuous. School to them, no, it's really good school, because
is it not interesting that it comes back to the same education? I'm not talking about education, school education, but educating the populace, Ghanaians, this is the right thing to do, because the parents are very busy. Once the kids are in school, they think they've been indoctrinated. That is the right thing, because the children are being thorough and formal education.
But I think about our current school, because I've never really in my heart really thought that it's the best. I've never really agreed to that system whereby the Kwako school 24, like every day, Monday to Friday. The whole year.
Not Christmas.
Christmas is when it won't be a moment break. Christmas when it won't break. But I'm going to go school literally Easter for a few days, and Christmas. Every half term, every time they go to school. Can you believe it? And I saw, and my brother would say it's a very good school.
And who is regulating? And especially this is what we're talking about.
And I won't be a school so back on with your teacher with you. It's like, you know, and I just think it's like, how do you even kind of say, because obviously be a demanded to them, no, be a mamma papa demand no be a because it's to them, no. It keeps them crying in school, they trauma. But I can even imagine the teacher called chap and they never even get tired. And also because school bag like, you know, books a book at the age of 10 to 5, you know, and all this stuff. I just think, how can you engage in critical education? On my first service, you know, your homework. Oh, but I have my homework every day. It's our homework. It's like you can't get your. I mean, I can't get my head around it. I've never understood. But every month, if you want to school fees every month, you know, every time we want to school fees, it's I just don't even get it. I just don't think that these things you implement them without, obviously in the general. This is a private school. Jamaica was in a private school, but in general, so that before you implement something as huge as that, you need the people on the ground. The teachers, you know, you have to think about. You have to actually have a, you know, strategy. You have to think about, like, you know, how is it going to work?
Social skills,
long term wise, and how is it going to work? You know, now you can be thinking that's what the SWOT analysis and all that things comes into it. You see, you just need what the strength and weakness.
Your homework.
You know, all this stuff. You have to think about it before you even kind of implement something. Is someone doing all these things before it comes out? We just kind of think, so, okay, I think it'll work this way. They put it out there, and it doesn't work. And they think, oh, actually, no, it didn't. And then you go retract. No, I don't really get it. And my view is just, let's think about education a bit more, because at the moment the system is so messed up as it is. Minimum be like is be percent about anymore, because they just don't think like education system is so messed up. But Ghana education system used to be one of the best education you have in Africa. Exactly. It was fine. It wasn't broken. You don't want it to fix it. But the only thing I thought at that time they needed to fix it was we needed to move away from the only core subjects were like doctor, you know, but add more things inside. Creativity has to be part of it, mechanics and stuff like that.
We're all there, Anita. It's just that I don't think there was a lot of attention being paid.
Yes, but it was there, but it was mainly not in the main schools. So there's a moment A level, it wasn't there. But I thought that those things needed to be power, because people don't want to be seen as the company. Because the company is so special. It has to be everywhere. But that's the only thing that I thought it needed to, because we have to move away from this whole doctor, lawyer, that's it. You know, there's other things people can do very well with. But they say, no, we are cohasing the fear because school 6 months, what are we doing? It's just, I don't get it. I really don't get the system. And I'm so glad that I am old system. I'm so glad I had that education, because you can't find, it's one of the best education.
Right, that is
system.
debate.
It is A-level their own, yeah.
It's subject
It
to
is
debate.
debatable. We're not going to go into that. Right, we're not going to go into that because Mr. Nephew, we're not
And
going to go into
we're
not going to go into that.
But I'm going to go.
We're not going to go into that.
Run here, cook 2 times in a day. Your point, we have coffee. We have but the idea is actually cook for the afternoon session. Now,
Ima,
no.
God Education Service. Luciano, said Samine and Annie. They've talked about the system. And I think that they've stretched it enough, unless it's for think otherwise. When we talk about the content of the children, you know, and even the social aspect, the safety, health and safety aspect now. I know some questions have you got it right. I know the answer is going to be obviously no. And it's a big no in red ink and in capital letters. What are some of the do you think that it would be necessary for us to inculcate in the curriculum? I know say we not be able to exhaust everything, but is there anything, 1 or 2 I think say we should add this thing into the Ghana education system in terms of education?
And so you see the word curriculum, but I'm so curriculum and but so I say incorporate it big just this evening, I went out to in fact, me Baham still not my partner George being credit, so I just passed by to see him briefly. Now this is a child of 6 years old. Or now the younger brother who is just 2. The younger brother or kind of book. Remember this analogy now into a kind of book no catching the younger brother and say, oh, his books there are monsters in the book. This is a 6-year-old child. Or kind of book no monsters. Wow. Kakai good. Or catching the younger brother say, but just know monsters are not real, you know. You don't say, Chloe, no, you don't say that. Monsters, anything that has a name is real. It exists. Because your name is Chloe, that's why you exist. Like you said, that's a chair, so it means exist. You say, no, Mr. Ashley, monsters don't exist. Monsters were just created. I'm like, what is this girl telling me? And you know, the child of 6 years took me to another stage. Not everything that have name exists. Souls exist. You know what happens to souls? Everybody has a soul within us, but you don't see the soul. It's only when we die that the souls go to heaven to Jesus and go and rest in the bosom of Jesus. I'm like, I just couldn't understand why a 6-year-old should talk like that. I'm not frank with you. But in our attempt to put fear in children, to ask Kaka is real, and we believed it until we grew up.
Yeah.
But look at a 6-year-old child making analysis of what a soul is, what a monster is, and what is real, what is not real. Though I was trying to push, though I tried to push him to accept, say, I did the OD existing. She was defending her position. And this is education. I think we have to broaden our scope of knowledge. In fact, my boys not school. They have something they call the big world. They call the big world, and it's about everything from art to medicine to anything you can think about in life. Right? And they just discuss. And yet, pure class is not an academic course. It's just just open the mind of the child to real life. What is life? You can't say life. Life is not just about, as we say, your system. They say, physics, chemistry, biology, doctor, math, doctor, engineer. So we don't open the mind to be analytical, to look at the bigger picture. And I think until you start looking at those things, and not English, real linguistics are especially a boy English. but there are literature analysis of events in this life. No? It's so crucial. But here, dear, no one a friend is saying commerce, economics, or accounting, accountant, and that is what I think we have to start opening the mind of the young ones to critical analysis of events, the world as a place. You know, and the classroom shouldn't be a place where all you do is you do physical chemistry, biology, economics, accounting, law, whatever. No. So until we try to incorporate all these things into our curriculum, to open the minds of our people, I'll tell you, sometimes it makes it feel say it is the reasons why sometimes even some of our top people you call the so-called coat-wearing leaders, no, sometimes don't know what they are doing, but they can't think aloud. He's just, you know, rigidly, whatever lawyer, rigidly, whatever accountant. Who you do for accounting where you are, or who you do law, and these are the issues I think we have to incorporate into a sort of curriculum to make children start thinking the bigger picture, thinking aloud, and opening their mind to realities of life, and not just, you know, you are going to school to be a doctor, so that is all you do. You are going to no. Knowledge is there to empower you, not just for you to get a job and work.
Yo, Ima, yes, sister, our time check at the moment is 22 minutes past 7. Zen Jumedian Yamana Broso, a producer, thank you so much for extending the time. It's here for the one to make can and a young Jumedian and ABC. This week you came all your way in your homes. You're begging Ghana when your car appeared to explosion. You're looking at Cassie and who was explosion. And you're con crying, and you're macro. We look at us implosion, see a country of Bemozo, who didn't have a beggars, I won't grab as this year, hey, you're called different level. If we look at our education system, you say there is a lack of education in the country. And yes, we need to educate Ghanaians about some of the safety measures we need to put in place, especially in emergency. When in December, any other was in one thing and may you have feeling prayer right about this program? Yet inspirational hour ever a Pastor Coke. Or the annual a war drawn to this Sundays, and I love football pressure because Monday was as it. That is why you need this program, next program, not and prepare you ready to start the week ahead. I'd like to take this opportunity to extend a big shout to Slopstein, where if you're by Ayashu, or send him for Hey, Mr. Emmanuel, or CJSS, one the former one was your speaker, was your too much. Zamia, there was an Alajo boys, Alajo boy, I want a big shout out. 81 coming, and I him understand no better men can have a lovely evening.